Thank you for coming last week, and thanks for giving us the opportunity to speak about what's going on at Park Road this school year. And joining me tonight are Karen Socker and Jill Pink, both of whom are kindergarten teachers at Park Road. Angie Stewart, who's a second grade teacher, and Tammy Hollahan, who is our library media specialist. And we want to focus tonight by giving you updates on the 3 focus areas that we've been working on in the past couple of years and continue to work on this year. And that includes our professional learning community work, our SEL work, and our work to integrate technology competencies and STEAM into the day-to-day things that we do with students. In our PLCs, we continue to spend time working together to score, analyze, and develop common formative assessments. We establish instructional goals at the team level, and importantly, we discuss instructional strategies and then how we can best support our students during our RTI block, which we call WIN block for what I need. One of the things that I've shared with you in the past is our efforts to systematically monitor student work across the grade level, and that's a process that we're continuing. Every 7 to 8 weeks, we sit down with each grade level team and we look at student progress on different assessments. And part of the membership of those team meetings include our reading specialists and our counselor and our math lab para. And when we first started these meetings several years ago, our primary focus was on reading and how we group and support students in reading. And last year, we increased what we looked at and we increased the time that we spend in these meetings to be able to focus on math as well as social emotional learning. And it's really in the area of social emotional learning that we made a lot of growth this year. And our counselor came to these meetings, and based upon discussions that she had at the team meetings, she was able to do sometimes full grade level counseling that programs she would develop. Sometimes it was specific to issues going on in an individual classroom. A lot of times she would pull kids from across all 3 classes at a grade level and have very targeted specific short-term groups, and that might include focus on areas like attention and self-control, work completion. Sometimes it was very targeted to individual students as well, and offering them some mentoring support or connecting them with an older student as well. I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Socker, who's going to talk a little bit about our IST process.
Hello. Our work on our grade level student success meetings last year has resulted in our re-examining our IST, or instructional support team process, this school year. This process is more focused on students who require more significant Tier 2 and more likely Tier 3 team-based interventions. We've worked to be more flexible in our initial screenings so that we've had screenings or observation done prior to our IST meetings. This includes revamping our paperwork to support this process to make things more streamlined. The people that sit on the IST committee have been consistent for the past few years, so we're able to really work at developing and making things more streamlined for teachers when they come in with more goal-oriented focus. The actual IST is more formalized through our discussions. We're able to have more in-depth discussion on one student, particularly in the initial discussion phase, with a primary area of focus. Our goal is to walk out, or to have the teacher walk out with concrete strategies to address primary areas of concern that we can use to measure and monitor improvement.
In terms of our instructional focus at each grade level, the past couple of years, each grade level team had established their own goal instructionally that they were working on throughout the school year. This year, what we've decided to do is have a K-5 focus on writing and use a lot of our staff meeting time, our October conference day time, and other time that we have available to really focus on writing. And that was especially timely given the fact that we have a new writing curriculum this year as well. In teams, this work involves examining this new writing curriculum, engaging in collaborative scoring and analysis of the on-demand assessments, and probably discussion of instructional strategies across the team. While initially this work is promoting discussion of writing across grade levels, our goal is also to build in K-5 opportunities to discuss writing vertically and what that looks like K through 5. Key resources in this work includes the student checklists that provide students with concrete ways to examine their own writing, common pre and post assessments in the writing. And these rubrics are in the form of a continuum that allow us to examine key attributes of student writing across all grade level. One of the things that I've had the pleasure to do this fall is focus almost all of my announced observations on writing. And that's really been powerful to see. And most recently I finished looking at kindergarten classrooms, and I could see, or first grade classrooms, and students were actually using the checklists to be able to talk about and discuss their own writing. When they were doing author's chair, the teacher was bringing them back to the checklist, and they were giving feedback to the student in the author's chair relative to the checklist. I even heard first graders use words like, oh, I used onomatopoeia in the hook of my sentence. So I won't make you raise your hand if you don't remember what that means, but that's a word that sounds like what it means, like splash or crash. So it was pretty exciting to hear first graders talk about that, which is evidence of the effectiveness of this writing curriculum to date.
Hi, I'm Angie Stewart. I teach second grade at Park Road, and I'm a member of our Social Emotional Learning Committee. So our SEL goals for this year are to provide a safe and respectful, caring environment, and to strengthen our home and school connections, and also to work to reinforce ways that our students can be our best self, do their best work, and make a difference in the lives of others. Strategies we're using to work towards this goal are listed above. We continue to promote common language, beginning the year with an opening assembly. This year, our assembly was set loosely to the concepts of the movie Inside Out. So our student, upon starting the school year, experiences a range of emotions from joy to anger to fear. And ultimately, upon reflecting in each situation, the only logical one is to choose joy. Many of our classrooms are emphasizing the zones of regulation language this year, so this was a natural kickoff to that work. Essential to this work is the start of the year in each classroom and the development of individualized classroom compacts. At our first staff meeting in September, we took the opportunity to post our individual class compacts and to note the similarities and the differences between and across the grade levels. We even posted all of the compacts in our front entryway. Another example of common language this year is in our phase-in of the use of peace tables over time. This work is being done by our counselor through her classroom lessons. This work begins with first grade with lessons on I messages and working with students to articulate to peers how they feel and their reactions that cause those feelings. Then in second grade, beginning last spring, she introduced the concept of peace tables. Peace tables provide students with language and a framework to begin to solve problems independently. One common element in nearly all of our classrooms is the use of class or morning meetings. These are an opportunity for teachers to carve out time in their day to promote opportunities for students to get to know one another and to also share information, for the teachers to discuss events or issues that have come up in the classroom, and to problem solve and to work to build a positive classroom environment. Other common language we are using includes the concepts of whole body listening and the zones of regulation, which focus on students recognizing exactly where they are emotionally, which is usually the first step in proactively working on self-regulation. Last year, we devoted a significant amount of time to learning more about mindfulness and what it means for us individually and for our classrooms. This work included parts of both superintendent conference days and our several staff meetings. This including having Kara Juzaic work with our staff on 2 different occasions. This year, many of us are taking what we learned and applying it in different ways. In our classrooms, you will see calm corners and language and options for taking a break and different ways to reinforce being our best self and doing our best work. We are even looking at ways that we as adults can engage in more mindful practices. Earlier this year, our art teacher, Amanda Kirkeby, ran an after-school art class for adults focused on how to create Zentangles. This was a relaxing opportunity for our staff and a way for us all to connect. We are now in our second year of Best Buddies. We again have over 110 student members in grades K through 5. After an initial back-to-school welcome, we're now breaking students into 5 different groups. After each group will consist of 20 similar or adjacent grade level groups of students. And over the next 5 meetings, they will rotate between the 5 different centers. The focus of each center will be on getting students to work with and to interact with one another in positive ways. In school, we look for ways for older students to connect with and to serve as role models for younger students. This includes our older students through Student Council organizing and supporting younger students at our roller skating events. It also includes having older students serve as buddies to younger students. This includes 5th graders helping kindergarten students get to the bus and includes opportunities for our older students to read to and to work with younger students. Above, as Public Schools Recognition Day, Superintendent Pirro and Regent Andrew Brown had the opportunity to observe this buddying in action. As part of our SEL work, we are looking at ways that we can infuse the district's emphasis on inclusivity into our work at Park Road. To date, this has included having Julie Barker, the Teacher Center Director, implementing with our entire staff on the October Conference Day, the hidden biases of good people training. We learned how our biases are influenced by our background, our cultural environment, and our personal experiences. Strategies we are using to promote inclusivity include an audit of our library collection, our Library Olympics, and the Book of the Season. So I'm going to turn it over to Tammy Hollihan, who's going to tell you a little bit more about Book of the Season.
Hi, I'm Tammy Hollihan. I'm the librarian at Park Road. Our Book of the Season initiative, begun last year, is an opportunity to promote school-wide themes and discussions. Each book is introduced as a read-aloud experience in the classroom, so each student at Park Road hears and discusses the same book on the same week, during the same week, with his or her classroom teacher and classmates. Discussion questions along with pre- and post-activity ideas are provided to classroom teachers, as well as extension activities they can choose from. As an example, you can see our first book this year was a new school year, Stories in 6 Voices. It was read in all classrooms in September. The book, written in verse, follows 6 kids ranging from kindergarten to 5th grade who start the school year with worry, hope, wonder, and growing confidence. Alternating poems tell each student's story from the night before the first day of school through the last bell. The 6 voices in the book are voices of students from different backgrounds, races, and cultures. Our current book of the season, introduced in conjunction with World Kindness Day in November, is Love by Matt De La Pena. The book celebrates the many ways we all share this universal bond. Not only did students enjoy the book in their classrooms, but copies of the book, along with discussions, questions, and activity ideas, are currently circulating through the homes of all Park Road students. We're also proud of our Love Is wall in the school lobby, where students and staff are able to leave messages about what love means to them. And while we don't have time to share it today, our communications office recently completed a video of the work we're doing, and we encourage you to check it out. Over the last 2 years, the Park Road and Thornell Road librarians have led the district's librarians in focusing on diversity in our collections. This work has involved a great deal of research, multiple collegial circles, and expert guest speakers. We've developed a diversity audit process to analyze books in our collection for the presence of specific elements of diversity. This provides a snapshot of the collection's composition, which informs our collection development. This process emphasizes diversity, empathy, equity, and directly ties to the district's focus on inclusivity. The audit is currently in progress, and at its conclusion, our librarians hope to provide books to our entire learning community that more broadly reflect the diversity of our world. We know how important it is for learners to see themselves and to learn about others in books. Additionally, we have found that our diversity audit work is very unique, and thus have submitted a proposal to present our expertise at a National School Library Conference next fall. And this is just a snapshot of the evaluation tool I've been using at Park Road to analyze books in our collection for different elements of diversity. And here are just a few of the diverse titles that Park Road has recently added to its collection as part of this work. Related to the library department's work around diversity, librarians at each of our schools are finding ways to move beyond simply creating diverse collections. We're each finding ways to share diversity within our own learning communities using books. And at Park Road, one of the ways this is happening is through our Library Olympics program. Library Olympics is an optional reading-related challenge each month that promotes school-wide reading with a focus on mindfulness and inclusivity. For our first challenge this year, students were asked to read a book about a place they'd never been to before. Following reading, they reflected on what they had learned. Pictured here, they also brainstormed ideas about how they might help people, animals, or the environment in that place. Our current challenge is for students to use a library database to learn about a fall or winter holiday with which they're unfamiliar: Chinese New Year, Christmas, Day of the Dead, Diwali, Hanukkah, or Kwanzaa. Kindergartners in the library are also engaged in a project that promotes diverse books. Each week, in conjunction with the letters kindergartners are learning, they hear books related to alphabet letters. At least one book per week includes characters that have diverse backgrounds, families, lifestyles, economic situations, geographic locations, etc. Following reading of the books, students create a page in an alphabet book that corresponds with the letter they learned about. So for example, with this, for the letter B, students heard a story about a West African youth who pursued an education, helped support his family, and became a record-setting cyclist in spite of a disability. And then here is just another example of one of these kindergarten pages. So for the letter D, we read a book about Diwali, and then students colored a Rangoli. So now I will turn it over to Jill Pink.
For our technology group this year, we have 3 goals. One of them is to get me to figure out what I'm doing. The next one is to implement and review our technology competencies, which we have for all our grade levels. We're also examining ways to integrate STEAM into all of our classrooms and into our building, and we are continuing to get our commitment to problem solving within the classrooms. Here is a sample of our technologies for what we are expecting at all of our grade levels. All of our teachers are aware of those, and we do have an expectation as we send our kiddos on to the next grade that they will have accomplished all of these foundational competencies. And this is a sample of some pictures of our STEAM room. This summer, a couple of teachers and I asked Mark if we could have some funds for a STEAM room where we have a book room at Park Road. We now also have a STEAM room. We found that some of the things we wanted to use in our classrooms we just couldn't afford in our budget, so we reached out to our PTSA building, and they gladly supplied us with some funds to purchase some of the kits and supplies we needed to have these ongoing STEAM activities. It can now be checked out of our library. We did have a staff training day where the staff was able to come in to try out the kits, to work with them themselves and figure out how they could use them in their classrooms. And here are just some pictures of the STEAM across the building. It's something we're incorporating from kindergarten all the way up through 5th grade. And I will hand it over to my coworker, Karen Zucker.
I guess I should have introduced myself too. So I am Karen Zucker, and this is what I love the most, the full day kindergarten. So I love IST, but nothing like full day kindergarten. So let me say thank you so much for your support with implementing full day kindergarten. At Park Road, we have worked hard to transition our students to a full day. We have been in school now for over 60 days, actually 63. That would be 120 days for our first graders that went for just a half a day. The growth that we've seen in our youngest learners is remarkable. Our kindergarten team has worked collaboratively to incorporate bridges, foundations, reading and math centers, writers workshop, rest time, and choice time each day. We've loved having you in our classrooms, and please know that you always have an open invitation to come into our classrooms and learn with our kindergartners. It is just the most fun that you can possibly have. I've had people say, actually Dwayne has said, you know, if he's having a bad day, just come into kindergarten. I mean, they will make every moment you'll just laugh the whole time. So thank you for all of your support.
Thank you for your support, not only for getting full day kindergarten here, but just manning us with everything we need to do what we need to do. One of the things that I want to share a little bit very quickly about is our Foundations program. Melanie and I just had a conversation last week about this. I have 3 Pittsburgh graduates and a current junior at Sutherland. I think this is some of the best money that's ever been spent in Pittsburgh is on this foundation program. Karen, you're supposed to stay up here with me. Karen and I can both attest, having taught higher grades in the district, one of the things we felt that our kiddos were missing was that phonological awareness. Having this program has taken our kindergartners to a place that I don't think any of us ever thought they could go, while being developmentally appropriate and at the same time differentiating for all of their needs. It's incredible to hear what these kiddos can do, and because of all of your support in getting that to us, we really, really appreciate that. And again, just as Karen and I have said, or Karen has said, you're welcome to come in anytime you want to see this in action, just to know how much this has meant for our youngest learners. And an end to that, I want to share with you some of the fun traditions we had at Park Road that continue on. We have our annual tradition of our back-to-school picnic, our annual Scholastic Book Fair and Family Fun Night, our Halloween parade and our Halloween performance by our 5th graders, and our color and game day and our ongoing roller skating parties, which if you're going to come to kindergarten, come on a roller skating party day. It'll be a great time. But thank you very much for having us. Mark?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for inviting.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that report. It was so thorough, and you covered every topic. But I do want to say I give you so much credit in full day K. What a transition. I spent, what did I spend? Maybe an hour? A little bit, yeah. Yeah. And I got sick, but but I was so exhausted after. I said, I don't even know how you do it a full day. So I give you so much credit for doing such a great job with the implementation. That's not easy, so I commend all of you. Thank you so much for your report. It was fantastic.
Thanks, everyone. Great job. Thank you.